welcome back to our top guest studio with me, Joe. Last week we had the talented Elise Marco. This week's guest is an amazing man. He's a long-time family friend, and I think he has done some awesome things that have really inspired me to try and do the same. I know he will inspire you too. Amongst other incredible things, he's up to 23 marathons and counting. Please welcome Mr. Dougie Black.
G'day, mate. Thank
G'day,
you for
Dougie.
having me.
All good, mate. So, welcome down to our top guest studio. So, yeah. So, now, guys, we're just going to ask Dougie some really exclusive questions, and I mean exclusive questions. The questions that our guests get asked. So, here we go. Dougie, what was it like at Mount Isa running and cycling for Cyclone Debbie victims and raising great needed funds for that cause?
Well, Joe, it's raising funds for a charity or people in need of help was something I always wanted to do, and I wanted to do something that involved my lifestyle, which was fitness and health and running. And here on the Gold Coast, we rarely go through hard times with Mother Nature. We get some flash flooding and whatnot, but what they went through up in Airlie Beach, people lost their houses and jobs because businesses were damaged from the Cyclone Debbie. So I put and through the winter periods, my business a bit slower, so I could afford to take time off. And my customers were very understanding of what I had planned to do. I had planned it in 1 week and rallied up some support through local businesses and friends in the running community that have businesses, and planned to run to Mount Isa, which also included cycling as well, because the distance that I needed to get to each town. And the whole idea was to raise awareness about tough times and helping others in need, and also raising funds. So it was very 50-50. It wasn't all just about money. And so it worked quite well. Once I got further out west, I got more backing and people talked about it more, and the connections just happened. And I was very lucky to have Robbie Catter finish the last 5Ks with me. So yeah, that's a dream come true, to do something I've always wanted to do. So it just goes on from there.
Guys, see that this is what happens when you're a community member. You just get behind everyone and you help out. So you guys, that's an amazing cause that Dougie is talking about here. So guys, if there's someone in need, guys, help them out.
Absolutely.
So Dougie, we hear you have done 23 marathons. What was your first marathon?
My first one was the 2002 London Marathon, in which back in the day where I used to train with the Gold Coast Runners, it was my first ever running club. I was very motivated, training 5 to 6 days a week. These days, I just run on experience and run on. I've worked in hospitals in the past, so I run on the fact that I'm very grateful I can just get out there and do it. And so my personal goal is to be the youngest to run 20 Gold Coast marathons, and I've now just completed my 18th. I would like to go back to London because that was my PB, and it took a good 10 years to beat that PB. So yeah, I've set a new challenge to get fit again and dedicate training, and also settle the school with a few of my pommy friends. It's like the ashes of running.
Guys, that's really inspiring, guys. Like London Marathon, that's the biggest thing you can do. And then 18 Gold Coast marathons, hey?
Yeah, 18 Gold Coast marathons, and Major difference. I ran London in April 2002, and I ran Gold Coast in July. 33,000 people, in one, just the marathon, and at 3Ks, they all come together because they start in 3 different starts. And then to run my first Gold Coast marathon, it's a big difference. And totally different course, Gold Coast, weather, climate, yeah.
Guys, Dougie recently did the Gold Coast Half Marathon, and how did you feel after that, Dougie?
Gold Coast Full Marathon?
Yeah.
I was quite sore because both mentally and physically. My partner's brother recently committed suicide, and on the Tuesday, and it just really put me off with everything. The plan, how I was going into the marathon. So that really threw me, but it in another way, once I gathered myself, it made me stronger. The physical side of things, I knew I was a little bit underdone with training, so I was just trying to go off experience and stay on the flat, because the Gold Coast Marathon is a lot of cambering.
Yeah.
So I was trying to stay to the left as much as possible. And post-marathon, my glutes and my hamstring and my quads on the left-hand side was extremely sore. So yeah, it was an experience, and basically it was just a marathon just to tick off. I'll come back next year bigger and stronger, and hopefully break the 3 hours. I've got a lot of good mates. We make some personal bets, and I'm due for a faster marathon. My PB is sitting around about 3:18, which I think I'd done in 2014.
Now, guys, we're going to ask Dougie some more questions about his life. So, guys, this guy is absolutely inspiring us right now. I don't know what to say, but this is an inspiring podcast. So, Dougie, what was it like coming across the line at the Gold Coast Marathon with people cheering your name and all your family being there and supporting you?
Well, the last, say, 80 metres, realising I was coming to the end of the race and the journey of that day, and who it was for, and I was thinking of Chris, and yeah, it can be anyone when you're running for a meaning. And in the video, my head just dropped. It got the better of me. It really hit close to home. And at the same time, my mate Adam Gordon yelled out, "Go Dougie!" and he was by himself. And my girlfriend Kirsty, they both yelled out at the same time. But because Kirsty was on my left, which was where the grandstand was, and heaps of people were yelling and screaming, I heard Adam more, and I felt bad when she told me that she was there. And I looked to my right and seen Adam, and I felt bad that I didn't even see Kirsty. But jokes aside, it was great to have that support there, dedication that goes into supporting someone through such an event, including Ironmans and stuff, and also educating them on the needs of doing something like that. Sleep and diet and stretching is big. I always thought, surely you don't need yoga and stretching and stuff, but it plays an important role in completing a marathon. So just you're always learning about the body, whatever sport you do. So yeah, it was very inspiring that day.
Now, Dougie, how does running help with mental health?
Well, endorphins. Sometimes they happen before you run. Sometimes they happen a few hours after. And yeah, running, it's apart from running shoes, you know, you basically it's your own body that's got to make it happen. So I'm quite happy I chose running because there's so many battles you got to come across, you know, and when you're going through tough races, you just got to keep telling yourself one foot in front of the other, and helping others out there in the race and stuff. It's such a big lift, you know, and I've seen people of all sizes run it for many different reasons, but it's just so inspiring seeing people that have, you know, never ran a marathon in their life and they've dedicated it, and it just really motivates me as a person, and it helps. You know, I always say it's good for the mind.
All right, Dougie, we have one more question for you. What is your running goal?
Well, I'm part of Run Down Under. It's an online virtual race around Australia. There's a few of them. There's a race across America. There's one around Europe. And so that's my goal. I have a few goals or, you know, challenges with friends to beat them to certain destinations around Australia. So I'd like to beat Travis Island. He's the creator of Run Down Under. He's a Parramatta supporter, so I must beat him. He's just completed you know, a lap of the country in just over 5 years, and so that's my goal, is to beat Travis Island.
Well, it's now time for what we call our fastest question round. Now, it's called the rapid fire round, and Dougie, you're our first guest to try and complete this fast question round. So, guys, without further ado, welcome to the rapid fire round. So, let's go, Dougie. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Favorite running footwear?
Nike.
Oh,
Pegasus.
Favorite beer or beverage?
Asahi and Left Belgian beer.
Pre-race ritual?
Eat McDonald's.
Favorite surf club or cafe?
North Belly and Surf Club and Le Vintage Cafe in Wurrungree.
Favorite TV show?
State of Origin.
Favorite Gold Coast beach?
Karawa.
Do you have a pet?
I used to have a pet, but not currently.
Most important marathon K marker?
Whoa, probably 22k mark.
Favorite marathon haircut? You've had a few.
Green with black polka dots.
Ooh. What inspires you most at this point in your life?
Just to fight any challenge and also make the world a better place through gardening.
Well, guys, let's thank Mr. Dougie Black here for coming on the show. He's been a friend for our family for 15 years now, guys. So, yeah, thanks for coming on the channel, Dougie, and it's a great pleasure to see you once again.
Thanks, mate.
Alright, guys, till next time, this is Top Guest Studio with Joe, signing off for another podcast.